Diane Sanford had spent 4 months sleeping in a recliner beside her father's hospital bed. She had missed work and missed sleep most of all. She never once thought to question whether her brother would do the same. She found out exactly what he had been doing instead 3 weeks after the funeral, sitting across from a stranger who called himself her father's attorney. Edward Sanford was 76 years old and had spent his life running a successful marine supply company in Charleston, South Carolina. He had built the business from a single dockside shop into a regional operation, supplying fishing fleets across the Carolina coast. By the time he retired, his estate, including the business, 2 coastal properties, and an investment portfolio, was valued at $3.7 million. He had 2 children. Diane was 44, steady and devoted, the one who had moved back to Charleston in 2020 specifically to care for him as his health declined. Tyler was 40, charming in the easy way that made people trust him before they had reason to, and chronically short on money despite a series of business ventures that never seemed to last. Diane had given up nearly everything to be present for her father's final years. Edward told her often he did not know what he would do without her. But while Diane focused entirely on his care, Tyler had already begun building something far more calculated. Tyler had accumulated nearly $200,000 in personal debt by 2022, the result of 2 failed restaurant investments and a lifestyle his income could never support. He had asked Edward for help twice before and been refused both times. What Tyler decided, sometime during his father's final decline, was that he would simply take what he believed should have been his all along. In March of 2022, Edward was admitted to a long-term care facility following a series of strokes that left him with significant cognitive impairment. Tyler began visiting regularly, not to see his father, but to cultivate a relationship with the facility's administrator, a man named Gregory Pace. Over the following 6 weeks, Tyler met privately with Gregory Pace 4 times. Bank records would later show Tyler transferred $45,000 to an account belonging to Pace's wife. In exchange, Pace arranged for a mobile notary to visit Edward's room during a narrow window each week when his medication schedule left him briefly more alert, though still significantly impaired according to his chart. During one of those windows in April, Edward signed a revised will leaving the entire estate to Tyler. Diane would receive nothing. The family's longtime attorney was never contacted. The facility's social worker, required to assess capacity under standard protocol, was never notified. Edward Sanford passed away in August of 2022. Tyler waited 3 weeks before presenting the revised will to the estate. Diane discovered the truth in an unfamiliar attorney's office, listening to a name she had never heard read aloud as her father's new representative. She asked when the will had been signed. When she heard the date, she remembered it instantly. She had visited that same week. Her father had not recognized her for the first 20 minutes. Diane retained attorney Margaret Ellison, a probate litigator with over 20 years handling contested estates. Margaret requested Edward's complete medical records and all visitor logs for the 6 weeks surrounding the signing. The logs told a story Tyler had not anticipated. His name appeared repeatedly, always around the same time as appointments listed for Gregory Pace. Margaret subpoenaed Pace's financial records and found the $45,000 within days. The hearing was held before the Honorable Judge Caroline Whitfield at the Charleston County Probate Court. Margaret presented the financial records connecting Tyler to Pace, the visitor logs, and Edward's medical chart documenting severe impairment throughout the period. The facility's own attending physician testified that Edward's ability to understand a complex legal document during that time would have been severely compromised. Tyler's attorney argued that Edward had expressed a clear desire to leave more to Tyler. Margaret asked him to name a single witness outside of Gregory Pace who had heard Edward say so. He could not. Judge Whitfield declared the revised will invalid, ruling it had been procured through a deliberate scheme involving financial inducement of a care facility employee.
She ordered the estate divided equally between Diane and Tyler according to the original will and referred both men for criminal prosecution. Tyler was convicted of elder financial exploitation and sentenced to 6 years. Gregory Pace lost his license and sentenced to 3. Diane kept her father's business running under its original name and rehired 2 employees Tyler had let go. Edward Sanford spent decades building something steady and lasting. His son spent 6 weeks and $45,000 trying to take it from the daughter who had actually been there. The court made certain he failed. What would you have done if you discovered those visitor logs first? Tell us in the comments. And if this story moved you, subscribe to Court of Shadows for more courtroom drama stories every week.